Why did you break it? The voice cut through the music of the gym, sharp and accusing. The room froze. Tasha stood still, her hands gripping the edge of the treadmill, trying to steady her breath as every eye in the class turned toward her. I didn't touch it, she said softly, but the words seemed to vanish against the wave of disbelief. The expensive elliptical machine lay on its side. The digital screen cracked. The handlebar bent slightly. Vanessa pointed at her with a finger trembling from outrage. Don't lie to me. You're the only one who could have done this. The clients shifted uneasily, whispers filling the space. Some held their phones, recording quietly, while others exchanged glances that said more than words ever could. Tasha's heart pounded. She felt the heat rise in her chest, her cheeks burning with humiliation. She wanted to explain, to make them understand, but the noise of disbelief was deafening. The morning light streamed through the gym windows, glinting off the polished floors and shining metal, but all the warmth seemed to vanish under Vanessa's harsh gaze. Have you ever been in a moment where the world seemed to turn against you for something you didn't do? Where every person around you believed the worst before even hearing your side? Before we continue, I want to ask you, where are you watching from? Which city has brought you here today to hear this story? Take a moment, comment below, and if you want to see more stories like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that like button so we can share even more moments of truth and justice. Now, back to Tasha. She tried to keep her voice steady, reminding herself that she had done nothing wrong. I was here the entire time, she said, her words gentle, but the room seemed deaf to them. Vanessa laughed, a sharp, incredulous sound, shaking her head as if the very idea of innocence was laughable. Entire time? You expect me to believe that? Look at this mess. Do you even understand what this costs? Tasha's eyes flicked to the machine, the sleek metal now mangled, the digital readout blinking erratically. She had been responsible for safety, yes, but the damage was not her doing. Vanessa's voice rose, commanding and cold, pulling the attention of every client in the room. You think you can just stand there and lie to me while destroying my equipment? Tasha swallowed hard, feeling the sweat on her brow, not from exertion, but from anxiety. Around her, the class moved uneasily, the rhythm of their workout broken, replaced by a silence heavy with judgment. Tasha's mind raced. Every possible explanation flashed in her head, every defense she could muster, but the room only saw the evidence lying in front of them: the bent machine, the broken display, the accusing finger. She had walked into this class with energy, with dedication, with care for every single person here. She had greeted Vanessa politely, kept her instructions clear and precise, and now, in a moment, all of that vanished into doubt and public scrutiny. Vanessa's eyes glimmered with accusation, her voice rising with each word. You should be ashamed. I trusted you to keep this place safe. And look at the result. A few of the clients shifted uncomfortably, some lowering their heads, some frowning, some looking between Tasha and Vanessa as if trying to determine what was true. No one spoke in her defense. The air was thick, almost suffocating with tension. Tasha's hands tightened on the treadmill, nails digging into her palms. She had always believed in staying calm, in maintaining professionalism no matter the pressure. But this was different. This was not just a mistake. This was a public accusation, a statement that her honesty, her competence, her very integrity could be questioned without a moment's pause. Please, she whispered, I didn't do this. I swear, didn't touch it. Vanessa stepped closer, her presence commanding, her anger palpable. Swear all you want. Actions speak louder than words, and the actions right now say you're guilty. A few clients held their breaths. Some shifted to look away, comfortable with the confrontation. Others raised their phones, capturing the scene as though the story of Tasha's supposed failure might go viral. Tasha felt the weight of it all: the judgment, the silence, the stares. She could almost hear their thoughts in her mind. Maybe she did it. Maybe she's lying. Maybe she's not worthy of this space. And yet, she stood. She did not cry. She did not shout. She did not flee. She stood there, trembling, fighting to keep her dignity intact, while the room seemed to collapse inward around her. Every instinct screamed to defend herself, to argue, to point out the truth. but every eye on her seemed to demand something else: confession, fear, submission. The moment stretched, taut, and unbearable. Tasha's mind raced for a solution, for some way to stop the growing narrative that she was responsible for something she did not do. The clients murmured among themselves, whispers rising, some confused, some indignant, some clearly taking Vanessa's side. The sound of the electronic timers, the faint hum of the air conditioning, the squeak of sneakers on polished floors all became a background to her mounting anxiety. Tasha realized she was alone in this fight. No one here would automatically take her side. She had to stand and maintain her composure, even if it meant standing quietly while the room judged her. "Please, I can help fix this," she said, her voice cracking slightly but still firm. "Let's review the footage. You'll see I haven't been near the machine," Vanessa scoffed, a derisive laugh escaping her. "Footage? You think showing a camera will clear your name? Everyone here already knows what happened. Everyone saw you do it." Tasha felt her chest tighten. Her fingers flexed as she gripped the treadmill, trying to anchor herself. Her professional pride, her inner strength, told her to wait, to trust that the truth could be revealed, even if it took time. The clients watched, some shifting uncomfortably, some raising eyebrows, all waiting to see what would happen next. And in that charged silence, Tasha understood that this moment was not just about a machine. It was about respect, about truth, about the weight of assumptions placed on someone like her. The gym had become a stage, and she had been thrust unwillingly into a spotlight she had never sought. Yet, she would not crumble. She could not. Her dignity depended on her calm, on her patience, on her unwavering commitment to truth in the face of overwhelming doubt. And so, she waited, breathing steadily, holding herself upright, while every eye in the room weighed her, measured her, and waited for the next word. The tension in the gym did not ease. Every eye was fixed on Tasha as Vanessa continued to speak, her voice sharp and relentless. "Do you think you can just stand there and light everyone while destroying my equipment? I've trusted you, and this is how you repay that trust." Tasha felt her stomach twist. She had done nothing wrong. She had been careful, meticulous, professional, yet here she was, blamed publicly for something she did not do. The murmurs among the clients grew louder, a mix of curiosity and judgment. Phones were raised, fingers tapping, capturing every second, as if the world might see her shame unfold. She tried to speak, to offer an explanation, but Vanessa's words cut through the air like a blade, drowning out her attempts. "Stop defending yourself. You've already made it worse." Tasha swallowed, her throat dry, but she refused to back down. She could not lie, could not feign guilt for something she did not commit. The manager arrived, summoned by the escalating tension, and the room seemed to hold its breath. Vanessa immediately turned her attention to him, eyes blazing. "Look at her. She's incompetent. She broke my machine. I demand something be done." The manager, calm yet firm, asked Tasha to explain her side. She spoke steadily, recounting the events of the morning, describing how she had set up the equipment, guided the class, and remained at a distance from the machines that now lay damaged. She emphasized her care, her attention to safety, her commitment to everyone present. But Vanessa interrupted at every opportunity, claiming she could not possibly have done it. "It's obvious. She must have touched it. Who else could it have been?" Some of the clients nodded subtly, their assumptions influenced by Vanessa's confidence, while others seemed uncertain, caught between the story they were witnessing and the words of Tasha, who spoke with a quiet sincerity. The manager suggested reviewing the security footage, but Vanessa scoffed, acting as though it were unnecessary. "Footage? We don't need that. We all saw what happened. You'll just see she's guilty." Tasha felt the weight of every gaze on her, the silent judgment, the subtle bias that seemed to grow with each whispered comment. Her pulse quickened, but she took a slow, steady breath, reminding herself that truth did not require shouting. She had seen this before, in moments of stress and scrutiny, where assumptions were made before facts were known. Yet this felt worse, more public, more humiliating, and the voices of doubt, both spoken and silent, pressed in on her. The class continued in an easy silence, interrupted by the occasional cough or shuffle, each sound emphasizing the attention she could not escape. Vanessa moved closer, her voice rise, each word a weapon. I know exactly what you did. You think you can just hide behind your words while we all see the evidence of your failure? Tasha shook her head slightly, unable to understand how her integrity could be questioned so easily. She had always believed that professionalism and calm could withstand even the harshest accusations, but she realized now that appearances and assumptions often outweighed facts in the eyes of the public. A few clients whispered among themselves, some asking quietly if Tasha had been responsible, while others stayed silent, unsure of what to believe. The manager tried to restore order, urging calm and fairness, but Vanessa's performance had already set the stage for doubt. The tension became almost unbearable, a pressure that pressed down on Tasha's chest, making it hard to focus, hard to breathe. She wanted to scream, to cry, to run, but she remained standing, holding on to her composure with every ounce of will. Vanessa's tirade continued, each sentence more dramatic than the last, painting Tasha as reckless, careless, and untrustworthy. How can we expect anyone to be safe here if you are in charge? She demanded, gesturing wildly. The clients flinched at the accusation, some nodding slightly, reinforcing the narrative that Tasha could not have countered alone. Tasha realized that this was no longer just about a broken machine. It was about perception, about the weight of assumptions placed on someone like her in a space where authority and status were easily manipulated. The room became a crucible of emotion, a test of her patience and dignity. She felt the sting of humiliation, the quiet injustice of being publicly judged for something she had not done, the invisible line of prejudice that seemed to make her an easy target for blame. The manager stepped forward, trying to mediate, reminding Vanessa and the clients that facts mattered, that evidence must guide their judgment, not assumptions. Vanessa's response was a sharp laugh, dismissive and full of certainty. Facts? What facts? Everyone here saw what happened. There's nothing more to investigate. Tasha's mind raced, thinking of every possible way to prove her innocence, but she knew that confrontation, anger, or defensiveness would only feed the narrative against her. She had to remain calm, composed, and unwavering, even as the room filled with whispers, doubts, and the subtle weight of bias. Minutes stretched into what felt like hours, each one heavier than the last, as Tasha waited, silent but resolute, for the truth to reveal itself. The manager finally insisted again on reviewing the security footage, and this time Vanessa could not refuse, though she muttered indignantly under her breath. The clients gathered closer, leaning forward, eager to witness the outcome, their earlier assumptions mingling with curiosity. Tasha's heart pounded, but she stood tall, focusing on her breathing, her professionalism, her belief that truth could not be hidden forever. She glanced at the damaged machine, at the raised voices, at the silent judgment in the room, and felt a quiet determination settle in her chest. She would not crumble under this pressure. She would not let the assumptions and biases of others define her. She would let the facts speak for themselves. And as the manager prepared to show the footage, Tasha understood that everything could change in the next few moments. The whispers quieted, the room held its collective breath, and for the first time, she allowed herself to hope that the patience, the dignity, and the unwavering calm she had maintained could finally carry the truth to light. She waited, silently confident, ready to let the evidence show the world what she had already known all along. She had done nothing wrong, and the injustice being cast upon her would not stand forever. The manager pressed play, and the room fell silent. The footage began, and every movement was revealed with unflinching clarity. Vanessa approached the machine, distracted and careless, a momentary slip that caused the handlebar to bend and the digital display to crack. Tasha had remained at a safe distance the entire time, guiding the class, her hands never touching the equipment. The truth unfolded slowly on the screen, undeniable and precise. And yet, Vanessa's disbelief was evident. She watched the evidence, her pride resisting what she could not deny, muttering excuses that fell flat against the reality everyone could now see. The clients shifted, some gasping softly, others whispering among themselves, the tension dissolving as the facts became impossible to ignore. Tasha felt a quiet relief begin to settle in her chest, but she remained composed, refusing to gloat or celebrate. The manager spoke calmly, his voice carrying authority without anger. It is clear from the footage that Tasha did not touch the equipment. The damage was accidental, caused by Vanessa herself. Public accusations without evidence are never acceptable. Vanessa's eyes darted around the room, searching for support, but the clients now looked at her differently. Some avoided her gaze entirely, others whispered quietly about the injustice she had tried to impose. Vanessa opened her mouth to argue, but the manager held up a hand, gentle but firm, and she fell silent. Tasha took a slow breath, feeling the weight of the past hour lift slightly, the humiliation beginning to fade, replaced by the quiet strength of truth. The manager turned to her, his tone respectful and kind. "Thank you for maintaining your professionalism and patience. You did nothing wrong. Your composure has shown the integrity of your character far more than anger or confrontation ever could." Tasha nodded, her voice barely above a whisper. "Thank you," she said, but in that simple expression lay months of dedication, effort, and unwavering self-respect. The clients, once silent observers, now began to murmur their approval, a quiet recognition of her resilience and fairness. Vanessa retreated, her status meaningless in the face of undeniable evidence, her attempts at dominance replaced by embarrassment and a dawning awareness that truth cannot be hidden by arrogance. Tasha felt a sense of calm, not triumph, as she realized that dignity and patience had carried her through a storm of doubt and prejudice. The manager addressed the room, his voice carrying a lesson that would linger long after the day ended. This moment serves as a reminder: respect and fairness are not privileges, they are standards. True character is revealed not when things are easy, but when the world judges us unjustly, and we remain steadfast in truth. Tasha returned to her duties, her steps measured, her breathing steady, the tension of accusation replaced by the quiet satisfaction of having endured without compromising her values. The clients began to resume their activities, but the atmosphere had changed. Whispers were now filled with admiration rather than judgment. The lesson had been witnessed, the injustice acknowledged and corrected, and the space itself seemed lighter, freer, as if the gym recognized the restoration of fairness. Tasha's inner strength felt renewed, a sense of quiet pride that came not from proving herself to others, but from knowing she had upheld her integrity when it mattered most. Vanessa remained on the sidelines, her presence diminished, her voice now ineffective, her authority meaningless. The manager approached Tasha privately, a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "You don't have to prove your worth to anyone," he said gently. "Truth and patience do that for you." Tasha's lips curved into a small, fragile smile, the kind that carries months of hardship and vindication in a single moment. She nodded, feeling the weight of the morning lift as she continued her work, each step across the gym now lighter than before. She had endured the scrutiny, the whispers, the accusations, and emerged with her dignity intact, stronger for having faced it. The day went on, but the lesson remained: patience, truth, and integrity outshine arrogance, manipulation, and public shaming every time. Tasha had stood still in the storm, and in doing so, had allowed reality and fairness to speak for themselves. Her example resonated, quiet but unmistakable, a reminder to everyone that strength is not shown in volume or aggression, but in calm, unwavering adherence to what is right. As the clients left, some stopped to offer a nod or a small smile, a recognition that Tasha's composure and honesty had turned a moment of shame into one of respect. The manager adjusted the schedule, giving Tasha a brief break, and she stepped aside for a moment, breathing in deeply, feeling the calm she had earned, the satisfaction of having survived a trial that could have broken many. She reflected on what had happened, on the weight of assumptions, on the ease with which people judge without understanding, and yet, on the power of truth to overcome false accusations. And as the gym returned to its rhythm, Tasha knew she had not only defended herself, but had set an example, a quiet standard for patience, integrity, and resilience. For those watching this story, remember that the world will not always judge fairly, that misunderstandings and bias can create storms in your life, but that holding fast to truth, dignity, and calmness can see you through any moment of injustice. If this story resonated with you, take a moment to subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. Your support allows us to share more real stories of courage, patience, and resilience that inspire and remind us of the quiet strength within each of us.